What's up, everybody? Classic Game Freak here with Retarded by Choice for the Classically Retarded show. What's going
Yep.
on, Retarded?
Not much, sir. Not much at all. I'm just multitasking right now, doing the broadcast with you, and I'm also installing my Bioshock 1 and 2 updates.
Lovely updates. Oh,
Well,
God.
today it's got the Ultimate Rapture Edition of Bioshock 1 and 2, and it comes with every single expansion pack that they forwarded out the tubes. So I'm doing that while I'm doing this.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, I got it today at Walmart for $25.
Oh, wow. I may have to pick that up. I never beat Bioshock 2.
Nor have I.
So
Nor am I.
I got stuck at one spot, and it was just after that I couldn't, I don't know what it was. I think a new game came along, and I set that one down. So
That's exactly what I did, too.
Anybody that's watching this, which right now it actually says we have 0 viewers, but
Wow.
I'll say, yeah, we got a bunch of viewers. That's just great. Anybody that watches this, heck, later on down the road, if you have any questions or comments about the show, please feel free to hit me up on Twitter, which you can see on the screen there. ClassicGamePhreak, spelled a little bit differently, but yeah, you can definitely get me there at any point in time. I've always got my phone on me. So anyway, what are we talking about today? I don't remember. What were we talking about?
We're talking about how it doesn't really take 1.21 gigawatts of power to get the nuclear reaction you need to go back in time.
The 1.21 gigawatts?
That's right.
Oh, geez. No, we are talking about the big thing on every gamer's mind this week, the E3. Oh my God, it was a rare E3 this year.
It was very jam-packed full of funness.
Funness and then some. Like I said, kind of rare because there was a lot of excitement surrounding this one because everybody knew that it had already been revealed that both Sony and Microsoft were going to unveil their new consoles this year, so it was very big.
Yep. We already knew all the information coming out about the Xbox One, so there's nothing really new there, but we were both, I know myself definitely was wondering where Sony was going to go with this, how they were going to either fall in line or if they were going to do what they did and basically say, yeah, we're going to keep on doing what we're doing right now with the PS3, with the PS4, so Xbox, good luck with that.
Yeah, like we had said last week, when we kind of asked each other, hey, what are you excited for on E3? I had said that I was excited to find out what Sony was going to do because I didn't like not knowing, and I had basically said that was going to seal my gaming fate if whether or not they said, yeah, we're going to just roll like Xbox is and gouge everybody, or no, we're gonna go a different route and make sure you're not still a prisoner to this system, keeping it online or playing used games. And Sony, they oh my God, Sony, for lack of better words, raped Microsoft with that press conference.
They did. They really did. They came out of the gate pretty strongly. I think they came out and said, okay, this is what we're doing, this is what we're not doing, and by the way, used games, yes. Let's see, continuously online? No, we're not going to do that either. So basically, what Microsoft said they're going to do, Sony is like, nah, we're going to stick to a tried and true format, which is what everyone is doing right now.
Yeah, I unfortunately wasn't able to watch the live coverage on the Sony press conference, and so I had to wait until 2 o'clock in the morning when I could get off work and come home and start watching it. And I got home, and my phone was littered with text messages, with a few things from Twitter, PMs from YouTube, emails, the whole bit from a bunch of different people trying to tell me what Sony had said, and I was sitting there like a football game you recorded. You don't want to know the score. So right. I'm like, la, 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 clear, delete, no, And when I got on there, I wrote down some notes, and the biggest one I actually have here, and I'm going to read it verbatim because this was the spot that made Sony's year here. This is what won them E3. I said, used games are allowed, and I said the crowd goes wild. The crowd started chanting and raving, and I'm sitting there just kind of smiling at my screen at that point. It says, Jack Tretton takes it in. And yet, did he not kind of stand there while the crowd was just going nuts and just kind of...
You did. It reminded me a lot of, I don't know if you watched WWE in the day, but like The Rock, you come out there with entrance music and you sit there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it seemed like to me. It's like, okay.
He knew. I mean, there was no doubt. He knew he was going to win the crowd that way, and the crowd responded such a big way. I was real happy about that. But it says, Jack takes it in. Used games are traded and borrowed like before, so basically, nothing's changed. The crowd, I said, the crowd starts chanting Sony, Sony, Sony. At that point, I'm sitting here just kind of giggling and laughing. Just my face is just beat red at that point.
Right. No, it's a good moment, man. I had a smile on my face too, like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I was excited. Like, I wish I was there chanting right with them. By no means am I a strict Sony user, but to hear that was refreshing.
Yeah, it was definitely nice to hear that they're not looking to dick the common user out of hard-earned money. Because I mean, honestly, if you think about it, if you're gonna look at a $60 game, are you gonna pay $60 for a game that you can trade in another day, or lend to a friend, or borrow from a friend, or are you gonna buy a $60 game that you can't do anything with, except for sell it to at approved places you can sell it to, or being able to lend it to a friend once, and that's the life of that disc.
Yeah, well, them saying that you can trade it to an approved retailer, but they're talking with partners about that. That really made me think. Yeah, they're making deals, and they're gonna try to get all the money they can out of it, and it's stupid. But
it really is, because it reminds me of like back in the day, like not even back in the day, nowadays. Most recent I can think of, Guns N' Roses Chinese Democracy. Mm-hmm. When that came out, it was exclusively at Best Buy and Best Buy alone. If you don't have a Best Buy near you, you're kind of screwed there. Same with AC/DC when they released their Black Ice album. That was a Walmart exclusive. But with that though, there's Walmarts, in every single town in America.
Yeah.
Just about. But Best Buy is like, for me, our Best Buy is about 45 minutes away from here.
Golly.
Yeah.
That's about like me. I've got one about 30 minutes away, and I'm going to be driving 30 minutes away to go pick up a PlayStation 4 if I can get one pre-ordered.
Right. Yeah, I know Amazon's doing a pretty nice pre-order.
Yeah. So, one last thing on the whole, that whole announcement with Sony. The one thing that he had said, and this, he directed it straight at Xbox. He had said, and I quote, "And it won't stop working if you haven't authenticated within 24 hours." There, I went on to write, went straight for Xbox's heart, and ripped it out.
Yeah, and that was a finishing move right there.
that was it. That's all it took. I started seeing stuff all online saying Sony wins E3. The polls was like any polls I saw for the big three. Like the last one I'd looked at, it was like Sony at 86%, Microsoft at what was it, 12%? Yeah, and then Nintendo at 4, which I don't agree with the last two numbers. I think that should have actually been flopped, because I think Nintendo now has, should have a good shot at getting some better sales.
Yeah, they will definitely, but you also got a lot of the hardcore fanboys who are strictly dedicated Xbox fans and don't want to deal with anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, they're still willing, and if nobody here knows, if somebody's watching this, they don't know, Microsoft priced their Xbox One, or as it's being deemed, the Xbone. They're pricing it at $500. That's absurd. That's ridiculous.
Here.
Sony, they came out $399 for a system that you can still trade games, play used games on, don't have to be online. Even with all this, Jack Tretton was still able to say, hey, PlayStation Plus is going to be $5 a month. It's not required, but it's probably going to be on a lot of the games. People are not complaining about it because Xbox, not letting you use used games, forget it.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
But
anyways, that's what Xbox users are paying anyway for Xbox Live. They want to play with a gold account.
Yeah, $10 a month.
Yeah.
Unless you get a deal.
Yeah, unless you get a deal. But yeah, that's why I stay sober, man.
Yep. Well, I don't know if for me, I took the Xbox show at E3 and I took the Sony one, and each of them had a strong point and a weakness. The Microsoft, I actually thought that was a good conference. I thought that was a good show.
Yeah.
But that's simply because they really showed a lot of games, a lot of interesting exclusives. And, they started out strongly with Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice exclusive.
Yeah, I was really stoked about that. Hearing Jack Bauer, Kiefer Sutherland voice Snake was very kind of jarring to me, though. I don't know if I like that or not.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. But, I mean, good for them to be able to pull down that kind of heavyweight acting.
Yeah, but David Hayter, he'd been the voice actor for Snake for, what is it, about 15 years, about 17 years now. So going from that, I'm a hardcore Metal Gear fan, and going from that to like I said, Jack Bauer, that was kind of weird. But the game that stood out the most for me was Titanfall. I don't know what your thoughts were on that.
Titanfall, it's not my kind of genre. But I can see how it could be a drawing point for other gamers out there.
Well, if you think about it, it's by Respawn Entertainment, which is Vince Zampella and the other guy that both got fired from Infinity Ward and left Infinity Ward, and went on to make Respawn. So, for people to compare it to Call of Duty, they'd be right in comparing because it's by some of the same people. They even acquired some of the crew from there because the crew quit Infinity Ward and went over to Respawn. But for me, like big hulking mechs, games like that, I'm a sucker for games like that. So Call of Duty meets Mech Warrior. Seeing all the screens come on whenever they get into the mech and everything, it was just like, oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was nice to see that kind of response to that. and to see that the fact that these guys who did get shit canned were able to go on and prosper and continue on with what they love to do.
Yeah, I about figured they'd come out with a first-person shooter as like their first game, and like I said, coming from a franchise like Call of Duty, that was it wasn't unexpected, but that was one of the highlights for me in that. Like I said, it was a good conference, but it was on the back of a very, very bad reveal. Them coming and just showing nothing but games and everything, that's really what made the conference good. They didn't even mention, I don't even think they used the word football one time in the whole conference. So that was good.
There's a lot of really great things that came out of that E3 with exclusive on Xbox, like Dead Rising 3 going to be Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, I'm pissed about that.
Yeah, well, the first Dead Rising was only available on Xbox.
The 360. Didn't Part 2 come out on both the PS3 and the Xbox?
I know definitely Xbox, and I do believe on PC.
PC? Yeah, they showed some great gameplay on it. I saw that, and I was just like, man, I would love for that to hit the PS4. But oh well, an exclusive is an exclusive.
It is.
So.
Yeah. It's supposed to be bigger than Dead Rising 2. It's keeping the weapon crafting that they implemented with 2, and they're going to make driving a bigger part of the Dead Rising experience, where you're going to need to you're still going to need to walk around to your thing, but driving from one point to another is going to be very crucial.
Yeah, and I really liked how they said that they're still going to put the zombies are still going to pose a threat, and as he said that a zombie is hanging off of the passenger or the driver's window and trying to grab the character and yanking him out. He's sitting there punching at him, trying to keep him from pulling him out. It was pretty wild.
Yeah. Another thing that they probably have in there with that is if you run over a zombie, it's going to cause some damage to your grill and probably to your engine over time.
Yeah.
So you might not want to be hitting zombies all that often. That way you don't get stuck in the middle of nowhere and you have to hoof it to the nearest checkpoint.
And that was the way it was in the first Dead Rising. I remember eventually you just ended up jumping out of the car, and you were left to fend off a bunch of zombies you were stuck, around. They were swarming you, and I remember getting underneath them all in that, and just I'd have fun. I'd go back and forth and just mow them down, but it was a way to get you killed really easy too.
Oh yeah. Well, God forbid if you didn't bring enough weapons with you.
Yeah.
I love the chainsaw in the first one, so I was always, I'd have one on me, and I'd be using it so hardcore that I'd break, and I'm like, oh crap, what do I have? I got a briquette.
Yeah. I have the Lego head still on.
Yeah. What's that going to do? Piss them off?
Yeah. I loved that. I loved how big that game was. You could even grab a teddy bear and just kind of start hitting zombies. It wouldn't hurt them. It'd knock them over. But I guess I'd give you enough of a window to run.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But
another thing I like about the first one was the fact that you can take the different masks from within the game and stick them on the zombies, and they'll just kind of stumble about, not knowing where they're going.
Yeah. And I didn't play 2. I don't know if they kept that or not, but I hope if they didn't keep it, I hope they bring it to 3. That always made me laugh. So
yeah, I played 2. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't as good as the first one. The first one was, I guess the first one is to zombie type gaming that Night of the Living Dead was to cinema. It was a forebearer of sorts.
Yeah. So.
But what else did you see there that you liked from Xbox?
Oh, on the Xbox, well, I'm trying to find my notes here. I guess I wasn't as prepared as I'd like. Okay, because all of my notes were on a check stub envelope, and that's all I could find when the conference came on. So, anyway,
Mine's in this college rolled notebook.
yeah. See, I couldn't find mine. This is my gaming notebook right here. So I couldn't find this, and like I woke up, and like as soon as I turned the TV on and turned the Xbox on, it was just starting. So I mean, I didn't even have time to wipe the sleep out of my eyes before I was sitting there like, oh crap, I need to find a pen and paper and write all this down. So. Well, they started out the show with talking about the 360. They unveiled the new model of 360, which they made it look like a mini-me version of the X-Bone, which I don't understand that. I thought that was a stupid move on their part. Thing's ugly.
Yeah, it is, but for what it is, I mean, it's what, $199 for the 4 gig, right? $299 for the 250 gig. And then it's $299 for the 4 gig with the Kinect.
Oh, so they do have different tiers of pricing? I didn't actually see any of that.
Yeah, they mentioned that like the introduction 4 gig, is the $199. The 250 gig is $299, and the 4 gig with the Kinect is $299 also.
Oh, I gotcha. Well. They could have kept the old design, I think. I think the Slim actually looked pretty nice. But
yeah,
the X-Bone design is, like I said, ugly.
It reminds me of a Betamax VCR.
Yeah. Betamax or VHS player, yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I was looking for the top loader buttons so I can pop up like that.
Yeah.
Plug the game in and
it's got a little CD tray in there. Instead of, or better yet, a tape that you open up actually has the spot for the disc to go in, and you put it in there. And you'd have to rewind it.
Oh, nice. I think I'd quit gaming if I had to rewind the games after I was done.
Oh God. Yeah, Redbox, please rewind, or not Redbox, but GamePhreak, please rewind your game before you return it.
Yeah, be kind, rewind your game.
Oh, geez. What has me cracking up had me cracking up back whenever PS1 came out and so on, VHS was still big, and they would always slap those stickers in the rental places. Please rewind this before you return it. And they slap it to the games, too, and just kind of look at that and be like, really? These guys are renting these out yet? They're dumb enough. They're saying rewind this. Oh my God. But anyway, they, like I said, they were talking about 360. They showed a trailer for Dark Souls 2, which looked freaking amazing. The first Dark Souls, that is like one of the hardest games ever.
I don't think I played that one.
It's cheap now. I highly recommend it. It's hard to level up in that game. The game will punish you. It will spank you, but it ain't cheap either. Like, the game isn't cheap against you. If you die, it's a mistake you made. You've got to learn the combat system, and you've got to play right against different enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You collect souls through it. And that's how you level up, is by collecting all the souls. It's kind of like currency. Well, if you die, where you died, your cache of souls will stay there for you to come back and pick up again. But all the enemies respawn and everything, so you got to get through them all again. Now, if you die before you get to that cache of souls, you lose it all. That cache disappears. Wow. So It is a punishing game, but they showed the trailer for it, and it looked amazing, as always. So there was that, and then they really the only other announcement they made was the World of Tanks on the 360, and it's free when you have a gold account. So World of Tanks is a pretty good game. If you haven't played it on PC, it's actually a really kind of decent game.
Okay.
Um,
Now, I did see your video from your first feelings and thoughts on the Xbox One, and one of
yeah.
the ones that you did mention in there was Xbox exclusive Killer Instinct.
Oh my God. Yeah, they announced the new Killer Instinct game. When they first showed it, I didn't know exactly what they were doing with it, but as it turns out, from what I've gathered and from what I've heard, it's a free game, but you only get Jago as the only playable character. All the other characters you have to pay for, and they basically gouge you with microtransactions.
Yeah.
So
That's about their MO.
and it's not even an MMO. It's just a fighter. It's
Right.
that sucks that they don't give you, like, when I saw Killer Instinct, I'm sitting there thinking of Orchid and well, once again Jago and Fulgore and all those characters and
all the classics, yeah.
Yeah, and for them to say, well, here's a fighting game, but you can only play as this character to begin with, that I was happy to see new Killer Instinct, but at the same time I was kind of pissed too.
Yeah. I got excited, like, oh, are they going to redeem themselves? Oh, but then no, they're not redeeming themselves.
No, they were making it worse with that, and that's a shame. That's such a shame. With Killer Instinct, they announced that you could, or that they were actually partnering with Twitch TV for live streaming, games and so on. So I wasn't really excited about that. That just means more morons posting their gameplay of them playing badly.
Yeah.
It's just going to get so overcrowded on those sites and everything. I mean, already you see enough Call of Duty gameplay on YouTube. I mean,
yeah.
It's gotten to the point where I don't even watch the trollers anymore because it's always just them talking to Call of Duty players, and it's gotten boring.
Yep.
I'm sitting here thinking of John Trollston, Troll Arc. But yeah, Minnesota Burns. I couldn't remember his name there for a second, but Minnesota Burns. His videos are old. I think he makes some good money doing them, but still, it's old.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What else? Microsoft points are going to be no more. They're using actual currency finally.
Yeah, it's about time they do that. Now, it's going to be a bit of a shock to those people who don't, see like 400 points is worth $5. Once they start seeing that, I gotta pay $15 for this, I'm going to pay $15 for that, or I'm not going to pay $25 for this.
Yeah.
It's going to be a shock to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, and to me, it really didn't matter to me if it was Microsoft points or if it was money or whatever, because, I mean, I knew what I was paying for. I knew what I was getting.
Right.
The thing is they're going to still adopt what Nintendo adopts and what Sony does, where you won't be able to just purchase whatever it is you're trying to purchase. If you're trying to purchase, a game, let's say you're trying to get, a digital copy of The Last of Us on PlayStation 3. In order to get that, you're going to have to put money in your PlayStation wallet. You're going to have to do the increments, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever, You're still going to have a few cents left over here and there, and I always thought that was kind of stupid, or a couple bucks here and there. I always thought that was stupid. Let me just buy the game. Let just charge my credit card for however much the game is. I don't want 4 cents extra